Hi there, I'm Carla.
And I'm Melanie.
And we're the board game specialists. Today we are talking about our favorite deck builders. But before we do that, anything interesting you want to talk about, Melanie?
Well, I am officially out of control. It might be time for somebody to do an intervention, but please don't, because I don't want to stop it. I ended up purchasing 18 games this last 2 weeks, and I am now in the process of performing a small miracle of fitting them in my already overfilled shelves. But I actually think I came up with a system that's going to work.
Nice.
So, yeah, that's
part of a board gamer's life, is Tetrising your games in your shelves so that they can all fit.
Yeah, it's its own game.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and then that was great because we were both at the Tabletop YYC game day yesterday. And now you got to go all day. I had to work, so I only attended the evening. But oh my God, how great was that? It was so overdue. Seems like it's been forever since
it was
gone
awesome.
To like a larger scale game event.
That was my first one back in like 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
You too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I've had a few game nights at home. Mm-hmm. We had that small one at the library that one time.
Right.
But yeah, no, it was just amazing. I loved it. I didn't get there till 7:00 at night. And I was like, and I'm driving like from an hour away, and I'm like, oh, do I go? It's like, but it goes till midnight, and 7 to midnight, that's 5 hours, and that's still worth it.
Yeah.
So ended up going. And then I didn't realize they were selling some games. So I'm back with 4 new ones on top of the 14 I had already bought last 2 weeks. So it just happened. These poor games were orphaned and they needed a home.
Yeah. And
I volunteered my home. So it's really a good deed I'm doing.
Yeah, you got some good ones too.
Yeah, well, I'm super excited because Whistle Stop. I have heard great things. I'd never played it. Horrified is one that you see all the time, and I kind of have a thing for horror-themed games. I just love them. Coven, I bought it because there's like the theme looked interesting, and then the board, like you open the board, there's a round board, and then the top portion of the board rotates, and it looks super neat. And I was like, oh, I'm excited about this. When it turns out it's Paul published it.
Oh, really?
So we're talking about it, and then he's like, thinking I bought it just because he published it. And I'm like, oh,
yeah, that's why.
This was you. I didn't realize. So that was neat. And then what was the other one? Oh, Macro.
Yes, that's a good one.
So yeah,
you'll like it.
Yeah, that was the latest 4. I did an unboxing video on my YouTube channel of the other ones, and I managed not to cut any fingertips off. So
did you use a blade for the blocks or something? Yeah,
I did. Yeah, no, I did. Maybe scissors are over for me and just stick with the box cutters. But we got to play a few games while we were there yesterday. You got to play Champion of Midgard, which you had never played before. Actually, nobody at the table other than me had played that one.
Yeah, you taught us all. It was cool. I really liked it.
Yeah, that's one that I really enjoy. Earlier this week, I got to play Dice Miner. It was funny because we played me, Lee, and Nick, and I had posted a picture, and somebody's like, I really like this game, but I always lose so badly.
Oh,
and I was
really?
like, I think Nick feels the same, because I had like, I can't remember if it was like 54, and Lee had 55, and Nick had 19.
Oh, no.
It was a huge gap for him, but it was so neat, and it just looks so good on the little round thing and the way that, so it's kind of a neat dice chucker counting point game.
Yeah.
So that was neat. We also got to all play Super Mega Lucky Box. We played Overboss, which is a game that I bought recently, so I'm glad that we got to play that one. And that was kind of neat, actually.
Yes, that's cool.
We played Skull, which actually the more I played, like, simple of a game that is. You just have coasters that you reveal. Don't even reveal. You just put down, face down, kind of hide in there. It might be a flower. It might have a skull. You don't know. And then you're at one point, okay, I think I can flip so many coasters, so I'm going to bid 3. But you have to flip the coasters in front of you. And it was neat. Oh, and Sherry had a skull, like, every time.
Oh yeah, she played it every time.
Yeah. And then we got to play For Sale, which is a classic. It was an amazing time. I'm so glad we went.
Yeah, it was fun.
Now, you were there earlier. What else did you manage to play?
We started out playing Whistle Mountain. We had Kevin taught us that. That was the guy we were playing with later in the evening. And it was really good. It's nothing like Whistle Stop, same designer. I'm not sure why he named them both with Whistle. Maybe that's going to be kind of like a trilogy or something, but it's nothing like Whistle Stop. There's actually one mechanic that's the same, just the objective tiles or whatever, but it's a really neat game. You're building these scaffolds, which are polyomino tiles, onto above this water line. And so you build those and you can place meeples on top of them, and then you can build buildings on top, and then you push your meeple over to this scoring track. So you can build all these buildings, but then you can also, you have three, one's an air balloon, one looks like a blimp, and I can't remember, maybe the other one's like a bigger blimp, but you will place these on the buildings that you use, and then you can gain resources from them. And those are what you use to build buildings. So it's just kind of a little bit of an engine builder, but as you keep building up, then the water line will come up and some of these buildings will be covered eventually. So once you get to a certain point, that ends the game. And you can gain cards that also give you like special bonuses. You can save some people because sometimes your meeples will be stuck under that water line and they're like going to drown if you don't save them. So they'll be worth negative points at the end of the game. But there's a whole bunch of different mechanics in that game that really mesh well together. He did a really good job on that one. I'll be looking for that one on the used market for sure. It was really good. Yeah, and then we got to play, I taught a guy Anno 1800. Me and Cherry played with him. That was fun. We also tried out Steampunk Rally Fusion. We had played the original one, and there's a little bit of difference from it. You have like a fusion dice that can go on any color because you have these little engines that you're building attaching to your machine, and you try to gain more dice and get movement because you're actually in a race. So there's a little track that you have to move on, and you try to be the first one to get to the end. And every time you draft your dice and run your engine, that's how you'll gain movement and more dice and little cogs that can help with more movement or dice. But there's also some events in this game, and there was also some secret objectives that you can do. It added a little bit more to the game, so that was kind of neat. I also got to play Decrypto for the first time. We played with two ladies. It was really fun. It has a little twist on code names. Have you ever played Decrypto?
I haven't played it. I've heard of it.
Yeah,
it seems like an interesting one, but
it is, because I kept thinking when they were explaining the game to us, they're like, okay, and you're going to guess their code, their number code. I thought, how are we ever going to guess their numbers? I could see how we could maybe figure out their words, because you have these two screens, one in front of one team and one in front of another. And then you have four words that the whole team can see. We can't see the other team's words, and they can't see ours. And so one person will pull up a card and it'll have a 4-digit code or 3-digit code on it. So it'll be like a 321. And so they'll have to describe words like, so the third word, they have to use a word to describe that word, and then 2 and 1 and so on to their own team. And so they'll write words down for each of those. And then first of all, they'll announce it to the other team, and they'll try and guess your code. Well, the first round that you do that, it's almost impossible because they'll have no clue. But after the second round, they'll start to see that there are certain words that are like in 1 or 2 or 3. So they may be able to guess. But as the rounds keep going, you're going to eventually guess their code. And if you do that twice, you'll win the game. If you happen to write that code down, or those words down and the other team guesses or doesn't guess, it doesn't matter. If they don't guess it, your own team will try to guess your own code. And if they get it right, you'll also get one of these tokens. Or sorry, no, if they don't get it, you get this negative token. And if you ever end up with 2 of those, you automatically lose the game. So that's kind of like the black tile in Codenames. Like you don't want to go there.
Nice.
It was really fun. It worked out really well too. I think I'll have to try it out with the family. That was good. Yeah. And then we got to play the games with you. So we had a really good day. I think we played 9 games yesterday. It was nice. There's one more game I wanted to talk about. In my little solo journey, I got Stardew Valley to the table. We did play it with 2 players, but I did start the solo campaign in that one. And it's really good. Even though there's a bit of luck because of the cards that come out, it's still really fun. Me and Cherry played it together and we lost literally by 1 move. We needed 1 more move to win the game. But in the solo game, there's actually a solo campaign. It's called the Completionist solo campaign that Maggie from Thinker Themer has designed. And just, like a non-professional version, but it's really good because you actually use every single card in the game. You go through everything and just try to complete everything. It's really fun. But you're, farming, which I love in my games. You're going fishing. You're going to the mine to dig for some gems. You're foraging. You're making friends. I personally have never played the video game, so I had no idea what it was like coming into it. But some people who've played the video game, they really love it because it makes them feel like they're, back in that world again. But it's really fun. I really enjoy that. Yeah, so let's get on with our deck builders. Melanie, what is your number 9?
So we're doing deck and bag builders.
Yes,
kind
deck
of
and
agreed
bag building.
That's what we would include in there. So in my number 9 position, I have Super Motherload. So that one was published in 2015. It was created by Gavin Brown and Matt Tolman, and it's a Roxley game. And I just remember the first time I played this game, I was just so impressed with it just because of how the board slowly moves deeper into the ground and then the top board goes away and then the new board slides in and you just keep digging down into this, into the ground, kind of trying to unlock. And then the deeper you go, the more stuff you'll come across as well. There'll be more diamonds. There'll be more gold. There will be more stuff that you can dig up. And this one is a neat deck builder because every player has their own decks that they have access to. And what you're trying to do is slowly make the different cards that you have access to more powerful. And you can't unlock a card that is more powerful until you've unlocked like a lower level one. So you're going through collecting all these things and then trying to add new cards into your deck, but you gotta unlock them, I guess, in level, so you could concentrate on the type of digging card that would kind of go all the way to the top level of that one, but then you'd have to go get the lower level of the other type of cards if you want them. It's just a really neat game. And then it's neat how you're putting like those little black tiles to show where you've dug and you're creating the tunnels deep into the ground. And I really enjoyed this one. So that was my number 9, Super Motherload.
What a coincidence. That's my number 9 as well.
That's funny.
Yeah, I love this game as well. I love the tiles, polyomino tiles, right up my alley. And the deck building part of it, the gems, you're digging. It's awesome. Love this game. That's my number 9.
Perfect.
What's your number 8?
For my number 8, I'm twisting a little bit with this one. This game definitely has a huge portion that is deck building, but it's just a portion of the game. It's one of those games that there's multiple things you can concentrate on, and that's Lost Runes of Arnak. So this one was published in 2020. It was designed by Alwyn Min, and it's, you know what? I'm not even going to try to say that company that made it because I butcher it all the time. The CZECH one. I can't.
CGE?
No.
CGE?
the check, is it check game?
Oh, check games, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to practicing before we did this podcast with my son, and he's like, maybe just don't say it, Mom. It's so bad. But this one there's definitely a deck building portion. That's how you get the cards, that you'll be doing your actions and that sort of stuff. But there's definitely a whole lot more going on with it. There's the kind of the knowledge thing that you're trying to go up of. And it is kind of interesting because you got to move your book up ahead because you got to learn that information before you can kind of apply it. And then if you go through that path first, then you'll be unlocking some treasures that you'll get to collect. Some are just like once you reach that level, you get it. Some are the one, if you're the first one through, then you get it first. And it's really neat with the resource collecting and how to utilize them. And then the components of this game are really nice as well, with like the little arrowheads and then the little tablets. And so it's one that I've enjoyed. I mean, and there's a lot of different things going on because you got the market at the top where you can purchase either the artifacts or the items that you can buy at the top. And then you got the whole exploration side where you're trying to open up new areas that you can go. So you have more actions that you can do with the worker placement portion of the game. And then, the cards that you're building up and that sort of stuff. But it's not really all that complicated a game to learn and play. Like it sounds like it would because there's just so much going on, but it really wasn't a difficult one to play. It wasn't a difficult one to teach, and it's just one I really enjoy. So that's my number 8, Lost Runes of Arnak.
Good one. My number 8 is called Duffers. It's a 2020 game by Dwayne Wheatcroft. I have talked about this one before. It's a deck building golf game. So you're trying to complete the course in as few strokes as possible. And you're going to use your cards as either credits to buy other cards from the pro shop or as yardage to complete holes. So you'll draw a hand of cards, and if you open your cards and you see that you have a chance at possibly completing a hole, you can give it a shot. And the reason I say that is you need to play your cards, and some of them may have on them, you have to draw a luck card. So you will draw a luck card. It could be good luck. It could be bad luck. So it could help you with the hole or it could hinder you with the hole. There's other cards that will force you to draw a duff card. So if you draw that and it, gives you, it'll shorten some of your yardage, so you might not actually make that hole. So you're going to choose to either go for a hole or to just use your cards as credits and buy more upgrades at the pro shop. So you can buy clubs, you can buy shoes, hats, all these things, and the shoes and hats and things like that will give you just little bonuses that'll help you when you are trying to complete a hole. There's also some assistance or like caddies that you can hire on there. And also when you complete a hole, if you are the first one to do it, you get this bonus card. And those bonus cards are usually really good cards that will help your deck as well. So it's just a really neat golf simulated game that combines two of my favorite hobbies. I'm a huge golfer and a huge gamer, so putting them together for me and my husband is just perfect for us to play on the off season. We love this game. Duffers, my number 8. What's your number 7?
So my number 7 is Clank. Clank was published in 2016. It was created by Paul Denon, and it's a Renegade game. And this one is so neat. I remember playing it the first time because Clank is basically a dungeon crawl, but it's a deck builder, and that's what controls everything. And the whole goal of the game is to kind of go down from this castle into this dungeon, and you're trying to find these treasures. But these treasures are protected by this big dragon. So you're trying to sneak around not to get the attention of the dragon, but the more movement you have, some of the movement cards, because in order to move from one area to the next one, you need to play a movement card from your deck. But some of them will give you more movement, but because you're moving faster, you're actually clanking, you're making noise. And that making noise is attracting the dragon. And if you make too much noise, they'll kind of spot where you're at and attack. So every time you clank, you need to take a cube that has your color cube, and you put them in the middle area there. And then at some point, whenever an artifact is stolen or something, the dragon attacks. And when the dragons attack, all those cubes that's been collected goes into the bag. And some of in the bags in there, some of those cubes are just plain black ones. So if the black one comes up, it's all good, nothing happens. But if your color comes up, you actually took some damage because you got too noisy, and then the monster, the dragon spotted you and you took some damage. So you get the different colors coming in. So you're trying to avoid putting your color cubes into by being as sneaky as you can. And you're going around trying to collect these artifacts. They're worth different points. There's different things that you can do that's also going to be worth different points. As you're going, you're buying more cards to get more movements, to do more things. Some of the cards that flips up will actually be monsters, so you can attack them to gain benefits and that sort of stuff. And at one point, somebody's going to grab what they want, and then they're going to come out, and then it's kind of a ticking time bomb a little bit, because now you got to make it above ground before, and the monsters, the dragons attacks more regularly, so you try to race your way back to the top before, because if you die underground, you lose. If you die in the castle but above ground, you still get to count your points. But if you make it out, you get more victory points for getting out. So it's just a fun one. It's neat. When I first played it, it was really unique. I hadn't come across anything that kind of really did this. So it was great. And that's my number 7, Clank.
Awesome. My number 7 is Taverns of Tiefenthal. It's a 2019 game by Wolfgang Warsch. This one is a pub simulator kind of thing. So you have this board in front of you, and it's kind of basically a pub. You have all these tables at the top. You have at the bottom where you're going to store your gold and where you're going to store your beer. You have dishwashers, servers, bar backs. And what you're going to do is you start out with a deck, then you're going to flip cards until you have enough customers to fill all the tables at the top. But hopefully before you do that, you're going to pull a bunch of like servers, bar backs. You won't have many at the beginning, but pull as many as you can, because they will help you mitigate the dice or also give you extra dice. So then once you've completed that and you've filled your tables on top, then you're going to draft some dice. You'll get your own colored dice for each server you have. So that's extra dice. But you will get 4 dice that will be passed around. You have this little coaster of 4 white dice, and you're going to choose one, then pass it to the next person, and you'll get their coaster and choose one. So you'll have 4 white dice and then possibly up to 4 of your own colored dice. I think you can get 4. And then you're going to use those dice to either upgrade some of the things in your tavern. So, getting more servers, or flipping your beer storage so that you can store more beer, flipping your vault, I think it is, or your little safe so that you can store more gold. You can also get things that will help you get, what is it called at the bottom? There's a little track at the bottom now. I forget what it's called, but if you move that up, you'll get little bonuses as well. And then when you do that, you'll see how much gold and beer you have, and you can spend those to buy more things in the market, whether it's servers, dishwashers, bar backs. You can also buy nobles, and those you really want in your deck, because when you draw them, you'll put one at a table, and if you draw another noble, it'll go at the same table. So you don't just block all these tables off. They can all sit together, and they're worth really big high points. It's really fun to play. It's kind of I think it's his take on Quacks Quedlinburg sort of thing, push your luck thing, but with the deck building in it. It's one of my favorite types of, deck building, push your luck together. I really like this game. Have you played this one?
I haven't. No. I've heard lots about it, but it's not one I've tried yet.
It's really fun. Yeah, that's my number 7, Taverns of Tiefenthal.
Perfect. So my number 6 is Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle. This one was published in 2016. It's created by Kemi Mendel and Andrew Wolf, and it's published by Asmodee. And This one to me is just like, it's just such a classic game almost. Like, it's a great cooperative deck builder game, and because of the theme alone, it makes it into a great entry level game. Because be like, no, I don't know, I'm not really into board games. Like, oh, well, I have this great Harry Potter one, and it's like, oh, well, I know Harry Potter and like Harry Potter. Like, there's a huge Harry Potter following, so then that alone is a kind of a way to get them interested. And then when you play the game, because it's cooperative, you can kind of support while they're learning the game, so it's an easy one to learn. And the way that the game is designed as well, you start with year round, so it's fairly simple. And then as you progress and you go into the second year at Hogwarts, and then new things comes in, and then by the time you reach the end one, you've got these dice, you've got all these different things that's happening, that kind of makes the game a little bit more robust, I guess, would be a word that I use. And it's neat because you have your own starter deck depending on the character that you're playing, and you have like one item that's specific to you. So like Harry Potter has the Cloak of Invisibility. And if that's in your hand and somebody attacks you, well, you lower the damage you would normally take. The way that the board is set up, because you have your little board, you have your little heart that shows the damage you would take on. You have the attacks, and the attacks kind of build up on these, the bad guys, that until you've built up enough that you can defeat them and go on to the next bad guy. And it's just a really neat one. And it's one that, even though like, I mean, it's a simple one. We've played it lots, but it's just every time I play it, I still was like, okay, no, this is a good one. And it's one that I enjoy quite a bit. So that's number 6, Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle.
I have to try that one. I know. Never tried it, but I'm going to have to try it.
Yes, you do.
That was your number 6?
That's my number 6.
My number 6 is Crave. This is a 2019 game by Brian Sloan. So this is a new one I got. I think I talked about it last week or the week before, just briefly. This is a 2-player deck builder. Oh, was that last one, the Harry Potter? Is it only 2 players?
No, it could be up to 4.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure. So this one's a 2-player, and I was telling you that it's similar to Star Realms, I think, just with the fact that it's a 2-player and you're just trying to reduce the health of the other player. But it's a hipster vampire game. So all these vampires are hipster-looking dudes. Well, not just dudes, but all kinds of beings. It's really neat. So you either play as the vampires or you play as the vampire hunters. And obviously as the hunters, you're trying to kill the vampires. Vampires are trying to drink the blood of everyone else that they possibly can. So you draw your 5 cards, and you actually each have a private market as well. So you have a separate deck that is just a market. And then there's also a public market that you can both buy from. And in the public market, there are werewolves, elves, dwarves, poisonous flowers, plants that you can put in each other's deck that will reduce their health. There's chocolate and different things that will help you, give you more health or whatnot, and just different things or items as well that you can attach to your beings, and they will give you more attack. So you lay out your cards, and at first you'll look to see how much buying power you have. They're called influence points. And however much you have, you can buy as many cards as you can afford from either your private market or the public market. And then you will attack. So you have these attack points on most of the cards as well, and you'll attack. Now, the first thing you'll attack is if somebody has a patrol up in front of them. And some of the cards will have either a stop sign or a yield sign on the bottom. If they have a stop sign, those will be the first that you have to attack and kill before you can attack the yield sign ones. They're sentinels and sentries, they're called. So you have to kill them first, and then you can attack the person directly. And then that's how their health will go down. There's other little things though as well. You can stun somebody and they automatically will turn their patrol sideways, and you don't have to use your attack on them, then you can go straight at them. Or you can also, there's some of the beings in there that are just fatal. They'll just kill somebody, like one of the patrols, and they're automatically gone. And the nice thing is when you kill them, they don't go out of the game. They just go in your discard pile, and then they'll come back up again when you redraw later. But there's also a neat thing with the vampires, because with the hunters, they have some cards that can help them just regain their health. But with the vampires, the way that they regain health is they have some cards that have drain on them. So whatever attack they perform, it's like they're drinking blood and gaining that back to themselves. So they will increase their health that way. It's just a neat little thing. I was debating, I was going to, try Star Realms or Hero Realms. And then I saw this theme and I'm like, oh yeah, this seems really cool. So I'm going to try this one. But yeah, me and you will have to try that one for sure.
No, for sure. Yeah, sounds interesting.
It's really fun. So that's my number 6, Crave.
Perfect. So my number 5 is Star Realms. Published in 2014. It was designed by Robert Doherty and Darwin Castle, and it's by Wise Wizard Game. And this one by far is my most played deck builder.
Yeah.
We've played this one so much. This is one that I was like, hey kids, let's play some game. They're like, okay, well then let's play Star Realms. And they're always willing to play this one.
Awesome.
It is good. Best that is a 2-player game, in my opinion, but you can, with like Star Realm Frontier, you can play up to 4. You can also play scenarios where there's like, as a cooperative, everybody against this monster or the alien or whatever that you're attacking. And there's different scenarios that will play differently and different objective that you'll have, so it can change up the game. I like the base 1 versus 1 Star Realms probably best. And it's so great. Like you'll have your starter cards and it either has a purchase opportunity or it'll attack by 1. And you start building and buying more cards, and then the cards that you buy will either be battleship that you can kind of attack with, or they'll give you opportunity to buy more, that sort of stuff. Or it'll be a space station that will stay in front of you, and then that one stays in play until it's destroyed. Some of them have like a shielding ability that makes it they cannot hit you until this particular base is destroyed. So it kind of offers a bit more protection. And each cards will have different factions on it. And then some of them will be like, hey, well, you've played the green card, but if you play a second green card, it unlocks this extra ability that you can do. And I mean, and sometimes like just the combinations that you can create in the cards you're buying, like Jerome would play sometimes like, okay, I hit you by 24. It's like, oh my God, I got you for real. Like you're lucky if you can hit by 2 when you first start. So, and then all of a sudden it's 24 and I was like, sheesh. But it's so good. We like this one quite a bit. And this is, yeah, as I mentioned, by far my most played deck builder. So that's my number 5, Star Realms.
Can Star Realms be played with more than 2?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, nice.
But like the first small straight pack of Star Realms is just a 2-player game.
Oh, okay.
Frontiers has up to 4 players. And it keeps track of the health a little bit differently, but then you can play up to 4 players that one, and it also has that cooperative option. So
nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So my number 5 is Quest for El Dorado. So this is a 2017 game by Reiner Knizia. It's a race game, but you're using your cards, like it's a deck builder for sure. You will draw your cards, and depending what you draw, you can either use them as movement. There's 3 different types of terrain, desert, water, forest.
And forest, yeah.
Yep. So you can, depending how many ores you have, or it's not always ores, it's a symbol on the tile. Depending how many symbols on that tile, you have to have that many on one of your cards, at least. You can split your card between tiles, but you can't add cards together to use one movement for one tile. So that's how you move. But the other thing you can do with the cards is you can just not use them as movement and use them to buy things. Some of the cards have lots of coins on them, but if they do not, they're each worth, is it half a coin each?
Yeah, half a coin.
Half a coin. And then you can buy cards from this market. The really neat thing about this market is you start out with, I think there's about 6 different piles of cards. And once one of those piles is gone, if it's your turn to buy from the market, you get to pull down another pile, which is at the top that are not able to be bought from until there's an empty pile. So you get to choose which is the next pile that's going to come down. And the things that you can buy is more movement for each tile, or there's some things like, it's called Jack of all trades is one of them.
Yeah.
So it has one of each on there and you can choose which one you're going to use, which is nice. And there's another one that has 2 or 3 of each on there that they kind of get more expensive. Or there's a card that'll let you draw 2 more cards, just like any traditional deck builder. It's just really neat though, because you're trying to race and get there as fast as you can, but you also need to build up your deck so that you have more movement for later on, because some of the tiles later on have a lot more symbols on them. So you need to have better cards for that. And it's a modular board too. So you can kind of build your own track however you want, flipping these tiles over and making all kinds of different trails. It's really neat. There's also some cave tiles. So if you walk up to this cave and end your movement there, you get to pull a tile and it gives you a special ability you can use anytime during the game. It's a fun race game. Quick, I think we usually finish it within 45 minutes, and that's even up to 4 players. But just a fun, I think you could play this with beginner gamers, like people who haven't played a lot of games. This could really get them interested in gaming, I believe. Mm-hmm. That's my number 5, Quest for El Dorado.
Yeah, this one just missed a top 9 for me.
Yeah.
So it's probably like 10 or 11. It is such a neat one. And it's so interesting because, like, okay, you got all this jungle in front of you. So you're collecting all these machetes to kind of get machetes to get through. And then all of a sudden, oh, wait, it's a bunch of water and you've collected all this machetes. And it's like, oh, I don't have the right card now. It's like, so yeah, it is interesting. And it's very neat with that racing. Have you played it 2 players?
I have. Yeah.
It's neat because then you
get
have
2 people,
2 guys,
right?
and then you got to make sure that, you know, like you concentrate on both of them kind of almost equally, because it doesn't matter if you're in the lead because you got to get your last guy in too. So no, this one is great. And that was your number 5.
Yeah.
Right?
The one thing I really like is when you do teach new people, they just start playing their cards and I'm like, oh, I'm way ahead of everybody. And then all of a sudden they get to that point where, oh, I have no cards that I can get anywhere. Yeah. And you're building your deck, and all of a sudden they're at that point and you just zoom past them. You've built up your deck.
I mean, like, and the cards that you have in your hand will definitely like, okay, well, I wanted to go that way because that is the fastest way, but I don't have that right now. So we're taking a detour.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's neat for sure. It's a great game. Yeah. My number 4 is Mystic Vale, published in 2016. It's designed by John D. Clare, and it's an AEG game. I talk about this one a lot because it is just such an amazing game. This isn't really card or deck building so much as it's card crafting.
Right.
You start with 20 cards in your deck. You're going to end with 20 cards in your deck, but you're buying these see-through cards that you add into the different cards that you have that upgrades your cards and make your cards more powerful as you keep playing. And it has a strong push your luck element to it. That's really interesting because you got this decay symbol, and if you ever reveal a 4th one, you bust, and you actually complete nothing on your turn. So, but it looks great, and it has such great table presence, but it really doesn't because it's see-through. Yeah. Like, you got all these see-through cards. The one that I bought, the Essential Edition, actually comes with a little mat that you place the cards on, so kind of dresses it up.
That would be good.
It's funny because if the mat has room for the cards that you can buy, but it doesn't have room for the deck, like, that's still off the map.
That your like your personal decks, you mean?
No, like the one that you flip from when you so you got the deck. So you purchase one, you flip another one in. So the deck that you flip from doesn't have a spot on the mat. See. But I guess it's unnecessary. Yeah. But the mat does make the whole thing look a little bit nicer on the table, just because it's the see-through things, right? Like, you just look at the table. So, but such a neat game, so fun. This is one that I haven't played with anybody that hasn't enjoyed it. It always has gone over really well at different skill level as well. And this is definitely a favorite of ours. So that was my number 4, Mystic Vale.
Yes, I love this one too. It just missed my list. The only reason is I don't get to play it much anymore. I used to play with a couple girls who just loved this game. They would, ask to play it all the time. And now the groups that I'm gaming with, they don't really like playing it. And I don't know.
Oh, wow,
I really like it. Yeah, it's fun. Good one. That was your number 4. My number 4 is Fort by Grant. It must be Grant. I can't even read my own writing here. Rodiak, made in 2020. This is a little game that's really cute. It's about kids trading their pizza and toys, collecting pizza and toys, and trying to build up their fort. So you each have a deck of cards, and you have friends in your cards. And each of your friends have a suit on them. And then they'll also give you an ability that you can use when you play them. If you add more suits to the one that you're playing, you can improve or multiply that action that you can use that turn. So you'll lay those cards down and you'll do that action, whether you're collecting some pizza or some toys, or you're building up your fort, or you're putting somebody in your lookout, which will be an automatic multiplier if they're sitting in your fort, if that suit happens to come up. And then after that, the people around you, like the people who are playing, can follow what you did. If they have that suit, they can play one of their cards and then also do that same, there's 2 action. There's a public action and a private action. So you get to do both if you're playing, and everybody else can do the public action on there. The neat thing too is, so if you play those cards, the rest of the cards that you didn't play that are in your hand, they have to go into your park, I think it's called, and they just sit out in front of you. And then the other players can draw those cards. So they will steal your friends if you don't play with them. They can take them into their deck and use them. So how you get points is you want to build your fort. So you want to level up your fort, basically. That's the main way of getting points. There's also some little cards that you can get as you build up your fort that will give you either a little special ability or some endgame points. You can also get points from some of your cards if you set collect in a certain way. They will give you points at the end. But the first person to build their fort up to a certain level triggers the end of the game, and then you add up your points. It's a fun little game that has a really neat theme that isn't really used. It's comparable, they say, to Glory to Rome. I don't know about that so much. I think it's a very tongue-in-cheek, simpler game than that, but it's really neat. The following mechanism is played in some other games that I like as well, but it's a good one. Fort, that's my number 4.
That is such a cute looking game. I've never played it, but the theme alone is so endearing, right? We've all built fort as kids, and then I know with my kids, you walk in the room, there's always some sort of structure that was put together going on. So it's an endearing theme, and it looks so cute. All right, so we're now on number 3, and my number 3 is Quarriors. Quarriors was published in 2011. It was designed by Mike Elliott and Eric Lang, and it's a whiz kid game. Actually, I didn't realize Eric Lang made this game.
I didn't know that either.
An amazing game. It is so good. It's basically Dominion with dice. Right? Okay. And it's, so you have the dice that you start with, you got your 10 dice that you start with. Most of them are the white dice, and they have your buying power. So there's these little water droplets on it, and you can spend that to purchase more dice. And then you'll have your basic warrior dice, and you have 4 of those, I believe, and those are the brown dice. And now when you roll, some side have the water droplets. So some side will be for purchasing. Some side are going to be where you get your warrior, but depending on what you've rolled, the level of warrior that you actually get as well. And they all have different like different level of attack that they have and different level of shielding that they do, and it's super neat. But when you play and then you roll all the because you go in the bag and you pull out the dice you're going to roll and you roll them and then you see what you have for purchasing thing. So you can spend those dice to buy new dice and add them into your discard area. If it's one of the monster dice, you can put them in your ready area and then they kind of get in your, and at the end of each of your turn, you attack the players on either side of you. And if they have any creatures available as well. If your creature manages to stay alive until it's your turn again, then you score them. And that's how you score. And then once you reach a certain score, you win. So some creatures will give you a higher score. Some will be more powerful. But it's just such a fun game, because I love that. Yeah, you're buying these dice because this one has a really cool creature. I'm going to take this one. But then you might roll the water droplet on it, so you never actually get to activate the creature. Like it's kind of has that extra element to it, so it's not necessarily it is what it is because of what you bought. Like it depends on what you roll as well. I love this one. I bought this off of my friend because he ended up buying the big box one.
Oh, yeah.
And there's just so many dice because there's way more dice than you'll play. Just like Dominion, you're not going to be playing with all the cards at once. So you kind of pull out the couple of dice that you're going to be playing. Each dice has 3 sets of cards, 3 cards that it will activate. So there'll be different abilities depending on which card got selected. I love this one. This one is so good. And all the dice, the different symbols, the different colors, very satisfying. So that's my number 3, Quarriors.
Yeah, anytime there's custom dice in a game, I'm usually like, oh, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about dice.
Yeah,
but.
You know what? I just opened my game of Rolling Realms.
Oh, yeah, those big chunky dice.
And I'm like, let's take a picture.
I know.
Yeah, there's just something about dice.
There is. All right, that was your number 3. No, number 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay, my number 3 is Paperback, a 2014 game by Tim Fowers. I've talked about this one before. It's a deck building spelling game. So it doesn't sound intriguing just by those words alone, but you do have to play it. It's really fun. You have a deck of cards that you start with. You start with R, S, T, L, E. all the vowels you start with and those consonants, and then you will shuffle them up, pull a hand of cards, and you will try and spell a word. You will also have some wild cards in your hand that can be any letter. They're not worth any points, but they will help you make words. And depending on the words you make, you'll get to buy from the market other letters that also will have some abilities to either draw more cards or double like a point beside you or a card beside you, however many points are money are on that to buy more cards. Now, the only way you get points is if you buy these little comic cards, and they have the big points on them. They start at, I think it's 5, 8, 11, and 17. And so you're trying to build these big words so that you can get enough dollars to buy these points, or cents, I guess it is, to buy these big cards. But you don't want to buy these cards too early because, like in Dominion, they kind of clog up your deck because they're only just a wild card and they're not worth any money to buy more cards. So you try to build up your deck to get some really good letters in there to eventually, kind of near the end of the game, to buy all these big point cards. It's a really fun game. Love it. That's Paperback 2014 by Tim Fowers.
Yeah, I can't wait to get my copies played.
Do you have that one and hardback?
No, Paperback. Yeah, I just bought that one not too long ago, but I haven't played it yet. Well, like in my
was that one of your big haul games? Yeah.
That was even before. I've been on this kick for a while here. You know what? Because in beginning of 2022, as a kid, I'm not gonna buy games. So I didn't buy a single game for the month of January.
Yeah, you did a couple months, didn't you?
No, I think it was just one.
Oh.
Because then I snipped my finger at the beginning of February, and I was like,
right.
I'm gonna treat myself. But you know what? I think that was a mistake because now I'm like out of control. So back to the list here. My number 2 is Aeon's End.
Oh, nice.
Aeon's End is such an amazing game. It was published in 2016. It's created by Kevin Riley, and it's an indie boards and card game. And it is hard. It is so hard. And for some reason, I seem to like it when a game beats me up. But this is a cooperative deck builder. You have the village that you're trying to protect, and you have this big monster, and then it'll be different monster every time. It'll be different cards that comes up every time. You have these different gems you can buy that you can activate. You have these like little spell areas that you have, and like they're portals. So every round you can do one of an action to flip your portal so that you can actually assign a spell to it, but you don't actually get to utilize it till your next time comes in. So the first thing is you got to ready your spell. Then when it's your turn again, you get to spend your spell. And you have to have these portals. Now you start with one open portal. The other ones have to be like you rotate the ones until you're able to open it. But every time you rotate it, you can assign a spell to it. And the really neat thing about this one, like there's a few, well, I mean, the whole game is amazing, but the order is determined by what gets flipped up. So you have like your number that, and the bad guys as well. So then you kind of flip it up and be like, oh, okay, player 2, it's your turn. So you go, and it's like, oh, okay, now it's player 1. And then it's like, oh, okay, now it's the monster. It's like, oh, wait, great, it's the monster again. They went twice in a row. Like, and that's gets shuffled each round. So you never know what order you're going to be going in. Because sometimes you have abilities that you can kind of help others, or you can kind of set them up to utilize what you've put up. And the other really neat thing about this one is you do not shuffle your deck.
Oh.
Ever. So when you finish your going through your deck, you take the discard pile and you flip it over. So you're trying to purchase these things strategically to position them in the deck where you want, because some of them is like if you have 2 of those gems in your hand, you get to activate a bigger ability or something. Well, then you want to try to make sure that you purchase the second gem when you're in your, like maybe you just discarded one and you made sure that you discarded that one on the top so you can purchase and put it, now they're together. It's interesting. There's a lot going to it. I love this game. I know there's a lot of different version of it that's coming out. Like they've have a bunch of different standalone version that's come out. I've only ever played the base game because I haven't purchased it that long ago. I purchased it secondhand not too long ago, and it's so good. It's so good, but it is so hard. I mean, the one time we died and we just dodged everything that the monster was sending to us, and we actually never even hit him once. And I was like, wow. Oh, wow, this was bad, but I loved it. It was so good. And it feels like, like you have this game and you end the game and it's like, okay, this was epic. Like,
yeah.
I
you feel like you were there.
Oh, it's neat. This game does it for me, and it is so good. And that's my number 2, Aeon's End.
Nice. Yeah, I would have to try this one. There's a legacy version of this one as well that people talk about that sounds really good. Nice. So that was your number 2. My number 2 is a crossover. It's Lost Ruins of Arnak that you had at
number 8. Yeah.
Yeah, a 2020 game by Min and Elwin. Such a good game. It, like you said, it's a part of the game, the deck building, but I believe it's a big part of the game because that's how you decide basically all your actions and what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Such a neat game. The expansion adds player powers. So you have all these different leaders and they all have the coolest powers. Like they're so neat. Each of one, I think I've tried playing with 3 or 4 of them now. But they're all such a neat, they kind of all focus on one part of the game and then you just really go hard on that. Like either, buying the items or buying the artifacts or moving up the tech track, just killing the guardians over and over. It's really neat. I love this game. Lost Ruins of Arnak. That's my number 2.
Good choice. Now, my number 1 is I put all the different game of the same into one. And I'm sure you have an idea of what that might be because it's my number 1 all the time, but that's the Legendary Encounters. So I'm
right.
including Alien, I'm including Predator, I'm including the James Bond.
It's the
and
system. The system of legend. Yeah.
It's so good. It is just so good. I really love this one. Like, the hardest part of learning this game and playing it is just learning how to set it up, because you can set it up to do all these different, like the Alien, you can follow these different movies, and you're like, okay, well, for this one you bring in these ones and where they're gonna go and kind of the setup. But it's, when you get it going, it's amazing. I think in Alien's my most favorite one. Predator and Marvel is probably neck and neck, and then after that be James Bond. But there's like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer I haven't played. There's
really?
Big Trouble in Little China that I haven't played. Like, but the whole system is so well done, and it's a deck building, and you're buying cards, you're bringing more allies in, you're attacking these monsters. Like with Marvel and with the James Bond one is they escape, and if they escape, then you kind of lose your goal that you're trying to accomplish. With Aliens and Predators, if you don't destroy them, they come into the attack area, and then they just keep hitting you until you destroy them, and they attack each round, and then you take these wound cards, and then eventually, if you don't destroy them, you will die. With Predator, you can play as the humans, or you could play as the Predators as well and attack the humans. So it is just the whole way that they've put this. They've created an amazing system with this one, and I love it. It's the best deck builder game I have played. I don't think I even said anything. So it was published in 2014. It's designed by Ben Chakosky and Daniel Mendel, and it's an Upper Deck Entertainment. And this is such an amazing deck builder. And it's my number one, Legendary Encounters.
It's funny you talk about setting up games. Do you enjoy setting up games?
I mean, it's not, like if I have 2 hours to play, I'd rather be playing and not be setting up and tearing down. But it's not a huge thing that would be like, no, we're not playing that one. It's too much setup. Like, it's not a big deterrent for me, but it's, yeah.
You just don't like it cutting into your gaming time.
Yeah.
See, for me, I love setting up games, not in a game day where there's people waiting, but a lot of times when I have my gaming buddy come over, Cherry, I will set up the game, have it all set up, and then when she comes over, we just get right into it. But for me, setting up that big game, it's just sort of like a zen moment for me. I just kind of, appreciate all the art, the little pieces, all the tokens, set it up, and I just sort of, I don't know, it's just so relaxing for me for some reason. Same as opening a game and punching it. Like, I just love doing that too. It's weird, but that's interesting.
Well, there's something very satisfying to having your, like, when you got the game set up and all the components are in their neat little trays, and it's all like,
set up, and I love it. Yeah. All right, so that was your number one. My number one is a bag builder.
Okay.
Do you think you can guess it?
I don't know. Okay.
I don't know if
I have an idea.
I think I have talked about it before.
Okay, go.
Okay, so it's Orleans.
Oh, you know what? And this one, I had it on my preliminary list, and I crossed it off because I only played it the one time.
Oh,
and I was like, I really need to play this. I own it. But when I went to play it the one time, I was missing pieces because I bought it from a friend. And he's like, oh, shoot, I'm so sorry they're here. So he sent them to me. But yeah, okay. So that is a good one. Okay, tell us about it.
So this is, I don't know, did I say it was 2014 by Rainer Stockhausen? Not sure if I said that, but it's based in medieval Orleans. Sounds intriguing. But it's literally the beigiest beige of euros you could find.
Really
The box is beige. It's literally beige. And the artist is Clement France. Like, he's the beige artist of euros. I swear, he had the market in those years of all the euros, right? But it's so fun. You are trying to recruit different farmers, merchants, monks, knights, boatsmen, craftsmen, all these different kinds of people. And they are on these little discs. They're cardboard chips, but you can buy these upgraded bits, which I'm still trying to find. But And so they'll go in your bag once you buy them. And then during a round, you will pull out so many of these, depending how many spots you have on your player board, and you'll place them down. And then you get to place them on your big player board, and you will try to either recruit more people with these people, or you will try to travel and collect goods. And the reason you're trying to collect goods is for like a set collection, kind of completing some contracts kind of thing. You will also try to acquire influence some citizens, which are some big points. There's these little technology cogs that you can get where you can stick right on one of your people that is needed on your player board, and then you don't have to have that disc anymore. It just is automatically filled there. So it's easier to complete some of the things. I don't know why it's so satisfying, this game, but it's just neat pulling out these and trying to figure out where they're going to go. The game can be played in a co-op mode with some expansions, solo mode. There's like a different, not legacy, but a campaign mode that you can play in there. It's such a fun game. I just got this one at Christmas and I've played it, probably 10 times since then in different modes. I just love it. That's my number one, Orleans.
Orleans is an amazing pick. Like I said, it was on my list and I was like, I haven't played it enough to kind of officially put it on there. But it is so satisfying because you pull all these workers and be like, okay, well, where am I going to assign them? Because each different action will require different type of workers. It's like, well, I was hoping to do this, but I didn't draw a monk. So I can't do this. And then you have this other areas that you can send them to collect victory points, but then they're gone forever.
They're gone forever, yeah.
And, like the decision making in this game, like there's so much that you need to consider. It's so satisfying. There's all these different things. And then, the deluxe version. Like the first time I played it was the deluxe version and all those bits. And that's why my friend sold me his copy, because he bought the deluxe version. Like he's like, I can't go back. I can't go back to these cardboard pieces now. And it was such a neat, satisfying game. There's just so many different things going on, and it's a great experience playing it. So that's an amazing pick. Number one for you, huh?
Love it. Yep.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm. So that is our deck builders. Next week, we are going to be talking about animal games. Just in lieu of spring here in Canada, Alberta, spring here is a little bit different than probably around the world. We still get snow in our spring. We'll have a nice, beautiful day like today. It's just beautiful outside, 10-ish degrees. And I think in 2 days, we're supposed to get snow again.
And then not just, it snowed, but wait, the ground is white.
Yeah, snowstorm. We will literally go from, we'll change 20 degrees some days. It's just
from
crazy.
One day to the next.
Yeah.
We have gone from plus 14 to negative 10. It will happen. It will. I don't understand. But it's common out here.
Only in Alberta. Yep.
Yeah, but we've got the Canadian geese are coming back, and so they're in for a rude awakening sometimes. But so
they're tough old birds, those ones.
So we're a part of a board game group from the States, just like an online Facebook group. And then that was one thing. He's like, "Oh, you're Canadian, huh?" That's it. You know what? I hate your geese. Well, so do we.
That's funny.
So that's our next top 9.
Yeah, animals. I love animals in my games. There's lots of them.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be neat. It'll be neat just because it could be any type of games. Mm-hmm. So that'll be exciting to see what makes our top 9 for that, for sure. Yeah.
So where can we find you if someone wants to contact you?
All right, so I am on Facebook. My Facebook group is Didsbury and Area is playing all the games. It is a private group, but so you have to kind of request to join, and then I pretty much let everybody in anyways. But I just did it that way because I did figure not everybody wants to see all my board game stuff all the time. And then I'm also on Instagram as boardgame_mama, and my YouTube channel is boardgame mama. And as I mentioned, I just did that unboxing of all those games I purchased. So if you want to see what I'm trying to fit in my shelf, now you can go see it there. And how about you? Where can we find you, Carly?
I'm on an Instagram. I'm Board Game Specialist, all one word. I also have a Facebook page called Red Deer Board Game Fanatics. So you can check me out there if you need to contact us. But we will talk about our animal games next week. So until then, bye for now. Thanks for listening.
Bye, everybody.